How's it going, everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula, and welcome to another Pokemon Go video. Today I'll be telling you how to defeat the fairy-type legendary Pokemon Xerneas in raids and getting its shiny form. This raid boss is pretty straightforward, and bringing a bunch of one particular Pokemon will allow you to beat it. I'm going to be talking about all of this in this video, so let's roll the intro and get right into it. Okay, let's talk about Xerneas. So, this Pokemon is one of the best fairy-type Pokemon in the game. It can be used as a raid attacker, but it is most infamous in the Open Master League. You will want to get a 100% IV of this Pokemon and enough XL candy to max it out. Xerneas is a pure fairy-type Pokemon, which means it's going to be weak against poison types and steel types. These are the type of Pokemon that you will want to bring against this boss, as there's no other type that will be effective. Now, between poison and steel types, you will maximize your effectiveness on the raid with steel types, specifically a full team of Metagross. Of course, you will want to run Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash on all of your Metagrosses. These moves are insanely strong, and they make up the reason why Metagross is the go-to Pokemon for Steel-type damage. In the most ideal scenario, you and your raid group will bring a full team of Metagross each, with a Mega Evolution of a Steel-type to boost all of them up. These include Mega Aggron, Mega Scyther, or Mega Steelix. These are the Steel-type Mega Evolutions that were available at the time that I recorded this video, but there will likely be better ones in the future, and you should definitely run with those. Now, there's plenty of other Steel types that could still be viable against this boss, so you do have options if you don't have a full team of Metagross. These include Excadrill, Dialga, and Genesect. Make sure you are running Steel-type attacks, and you should be good to go. Now, if you do not have any Steel-type Pokemon, or you don't have enough candy to max them out, then the alternative is, of course, Poison types. The best Poison types you can bring are Mega Gengar and Roserade. Be careful using Poison types, however, because Xerneas' move pool consists of a lot of attacks that are strong against Poison. Zen Headbutt alone could melt down all of your Poison types. To be honest, you won't have to worry at all if you just top-load your team with Metagross. It is the one Pokemon that is resistant to most of Xerneas' attacks. It's pretty much the Achilles heel of this raid boss, so it might be worth just investing in a bunch of them. Since we've had plenty of events that featured Beldum, you probably have some good Metagross that you could power up. However, don't forget that Metagross's power lies in its Community Day exclusive move Meteor Mash, so make sure you only power up the ones with this move. It may cost you some Stardust and rare candies, but it will certainly be worth it. Speaking of which, in terms of budget counters, it's pretty straightforward. Metagross, Mega Gengar, Roserade, and Excadrill will all be good, and most of them are frequently available. Xerneas, being a pure fairy type, means it will only be weather boosted by cloudy weather. If it is cloudy outside, you should definitely go out and raid as many of these as you can to get a weather boosted one. This is of course because it comes at level 25 instead of level 20, so you will be able to save yourself some dust and candy when you max it out. Now when it comes to perfect IVs, you will want a Xerneas with the CP value of 2160 and a value of 2701 if it's weather boosted. This is identical to its Dark-type counterpart Yveltal, so you can refer to that if you are ever wondering what the perfect CP is. Because Xerneas has a lot of relevance in the Open Master League of the Go Battle League, you will for sure want a perfect IV of this Pokemon. The overall chances of getting a perfect IV through raids is 1 in 216. That means every time you do a raid, imagine that you are rolling a 216-sided dice. Thus, don't expect to get one if you are only doing a handful of raids. Since this Pokemon is so good, you will want to do several hundred at least. That should give you incredibly good odds at getting a perfect IV of this Pokemon. Also, don't forget about lucky trades with lucky friends. Your chances of getting a perfect IV this way is 1 in 64, which is probably your best odds overall. If you don't want to spend a ton of money for a ton of raid passes, then you can just stock up on a bunch of Xerneas and ask for a mirror trade with your lucky friends. This route will take a lot more effort, but it will be a cost-efficient way to get a hundo. Don't forget, the cost to power up a lucky Pokemon is cut in half, so if you get yourself a lucky perfect IV, that will be the one you will want to max out. Now in terms of how many trainers are required to defeat Xerneas, you will need approximately 5 trainers that are at least level 35 in order to comfortably defeat this boss. But if you want to challenge yourself, you could pull it off with just 2 trainers in total. You will need to have every kind of bonus you can utilize, such as weather boosts, friendship bonuses, and mega evolutions. So yeah, defeating Xerneas is pretty straightforward. Bring a ton of high level Metagross with Meteor Mash, and have a Steel type Mega Evolution to boost them up. So now that we discussed how you defeat Xerneas, let's talk about its shiny form. This Pokemon shiny makes its debut upon its return on October 8th, 2022. As far as we know, it will have the raid boss shiny rate of 1 in 20. To get shiny Xerneas is pretty simple. Raid it as much as possible. Yes, I am aware this is pretty obvious, but it really does just come down to it. If you want this shiny, make sure you plan to do as many raids as possible during the Wednesday raid hour where it will be featured, and make sure you do that in a highly populated area. It might be worth planning your night in a big city, where raids tend to fill up quickly. You may also want to communicate with a community of raiders to see if you can hop in on some remote raids. Much like what I said about shiny Yveltal, getting shiny Xerneas is all RNG. Even though the shiny rate is 1 in 20, you are not guaranteed to get a shiny even if you do 20 raids. It could take much less or a lot more. So make sure you set your expectations and just simply do as many of these raids as you can. So in conclusion, Xerneas is one of those raid bosses you will want to farm up as much as possible. It might not be the absolute best fairy type raid attacker, but it is absolutely top tier within the Master League. The shiny form of this Pokemon will also be a solid trade chip, so make sure you stock up on them as well. And with that said, that's going to be it for this video. Leave your thoughts down below about Xerneas. Was there a tip that I completely missed? Be sure to say so down below in the comments, and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then be sure to check out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list, so if you want to interact with me in some way, like with remote raids, then do consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.